Welcome to the REV Your Agency podcast, the most candid and authentic life insurance and annuity podcast that is hell-bent on helping you be more honest, ethical, productive, and profitable. Tune in and you're going to get exclusive access to the industry's top tools, tips, tricks, and resources from the biggest and most effective producers on earth. You're going to hear real-life stories of agents that went from nothing to something, zero to hero, and how changing the lives of their clients has changed their own lives financially. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and share it with someone you think will find value as well. You guys ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, my wife's hosting, so we got, I think, 30 people come to my house. It'll be a party.
Oof.
She likes hosting, though. She's good at it. I just do whatever she says.
Mo likes hosting. She doesn't like cooking. So I do the cooking, and like Thanksgiving dinner is one of those that I do all the cooking.
That's
but
cool.
She likes hosting. So if
my 5 sisters, and so they all cook something, and we're with her family this year, so it should be fun.
I like that. When we host, it's like, hey, everybody come on over, but Carson do all the work. I'm like, dang it. There's never a day off, even when there's a day off,
Right. Funny.
Man, it's good though. I love it. And dude, you know this. You know my wife. I lucked out so much.
Oh, dude, it's all about marrying up, right?
Yeah. If anyone ever doubted my sales skills, I'm like, check out what I get to go home to and who I get to go home to.
Exactly. Best sell we ever made.
For real. For real. I always joke that I had to take her out in the woods and get her drunk and then keep her drunk. But the truth is, I'm just a damn good salesman, Keldon.
Hey, I just had to start when my wife was still really young. Got, right out of high school, we started dating, met 6 weeks after she graduated. So, the hair won't stick around very long, Carson. You had to act fast.
Yeah, you were on a timeline. No, man. I had to do the same thing. I had to, I'll leave that statement out. But yeah, I had to find Camille young as well. So right out of high school, started dating and then got married. And dude, it's been good. It's been really good, man.
Same. We're let's see, we'll be 22 years in December.
Jeez, man. Jeez.
Pretty awesome.
We just hit 12 years.
Oh, that's great.
It's been a ride, dude. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our up downs. And
makes it interesting, right?
Yeah, dude. I have never met a person that said I want a boring marriage. I think none of us, when we prayed for an exciting marriage, though, realized what we were praying for.
Yep, everything came with it.
My goodness, dude. How's the hunting season been? You've been out a lot.
Dude, it's been fun. Personally, I've only had, my tag is actually going right now in Colorado. If I'm leaving tomorrow to Colorado for 3 days to hunt deer, I've just been helping all my buddies and family members that have had tags so far. And so kind of more of the guiding side of things for free guide service is all I do, but it's super. We've had one of my best buddies, he shot a big 6-point with his bow, and that was a riot. He had one of those amazing hunting stories, it is just a cool deal, and killed a nice bull, and it's a lot of work. Bow hunting's hard.
It's a lot of work. I miss it. I miss all the hunting. I haven't been since I moved from Utah. So it's been a few years. In fact, I think my hunter safety is still in Utah. I haven't even moved my hunter safety out of Utah. So
you got to put on
dude, for real. I put on the camo for Halloween, and it all still fits, right? Hey, but I'm like, man, I'm wearing $3,000 worth of camo, and it's a little colder here, right? So I had the cold weather gear on and the elk hunter boots, and I'm like, man, I really ought to use this stuff.
Dude, it's fun. We get out quite a bit. I try to keep a good balance between work and fun and just all of it, family, just try to get a good mix. And that's one thing about our profession. I think it's easy to overwork. Like if you're not careful, you can let it just consume you,
Dude, it is so easy to be addicted to what we do.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's a real thing, and you have to be conscious of it, and, just sometimes shut it off and just be like, all right, next thing up. I gotta move to the next thing.
Yeah, dude. And I'm super excited to bring you out to Scottsdale and speak to everybody. You and I have known each other for years. You've been an amazing friend. You've been a mentor. You've been all the things to me, and I appreciate it. And one of the things I think I've learned from you more than anything, without you ever even having to sit me down and lecture me or listen to you speak at a summer sales conference or anything, was exactly what you're talking about. Just this living this life of intentionality. And man, it's been cool to watch. The more intentional you get, the better you do at work anyways. And I'm going to be honest, I've tried to emulate that, but I don't do it nearly as well as you. I look up to you quite a bit in that regard, man.
I appreciate that. Something I definitely try to focus on,
What was the mindset shift for you though? Because we all go through that time when we're addicted to it. But you had a moment or something happened in your life. What actually happened? Because we'll talk at DTDW about the what and how to be intentional and all these other things. But what actually happened that made you prioritize that?
I think your 30s, you get raising kids, you're running a business. And for me, it was really easy to get lazy with some areas of life, right? Fitness being one of them for me. That was just easy to put that kind of on the back burner and be like, I'm doing okay. I can play golf. I can do this. And I actually did Grant Cardone's, what do you call it? The seminar he does in the spring. Now I just forgot the name of it. Yeah, 10X, whatever he calls it. His big seminar, 10X seminar. And
GrowthCon.
Growth.
Yeah.
So I attended virtually GrowthCon a couple of years ago. And the second speaker was Gary Brecka. And he got up in the first sentence, he said, the presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. And that really hit me. I was like, I've never heard fitness explained that simple in one sentence. Very easy. The presence of oxygen is the absence of disease. And I thought, when I walked up the stairs the other day at the bank and I got to the top of the stairs and I was breathing hard, I was like, all right, that makes sense. Obviously, my fitness is not where it needs to be. And then I just started going down a mental checklist with myself of what other things did I not realize were just out of line, right? Just nothing big, but all of them add up. And so I just started making changes. And then there was a talk I heard called 1% Better, which led me to the book Atomic Habits. And it just kind of kept being this chain of events that led me to more knowledge to, like, I've always been big on goals, right? That's a big thing in our profession is, all right, let's set a goal. I want to make this club level, or I want to be MDRT or whatever. And I would set goals that way. This has been a huge mind shift for me. I no longer set goals like I did. For the last 2.5 years, that's really been a drastic change I've made. And my production has doubled since no longer setting a goal. Instead, I'm working at creating an identity as somebody that just would do those things. And then I work within that identity. And it's been a dramatic change for me.
Which is crazy because you were always a good producer and agency owner before. Like you've always, for as long as I've known you, been $1 million roundtable agent, just crushing the life insurance and annuity game, leading American National, the company that you're with. I started with them, but you're still with. Maybe you're more faithful than I am. I'm a little hooker, but
it was interesting.
No, we
never missed a trip with American National. We've been very consistent. And I think, honestly, that made me complacent to some degree. But it was like, I would just do enough. I knew by August I could do this much, then I could go enjoy the hunts and just kind of check out. And it's been a big mind shift for me, changing my thought process now as I am a top of the table producer. And so it's not so much I want to make top of the table, but every day when I go to work, I want to think and act and do as somebody that makes top of the table would do.
Dude, do you find, so here's a question, and I promise you're not going to get in trouble. Actually, I can't promise that, but I would have to think they are a bunch of dicks if they get you in trouble over this. But it's not an American National thing. It's an insurance carrier thing. And it's because insurance carriers' jobs really is not to support healthy mental habits, frankly. It's to design products and then make sure those products are sold in service. That's their job, right? But they end up filling all these ancillary roles like providing incentives and awards and whatever. But at the carrier level, it's not so much at the IMO level in the independent world, like it just doesn't even exist. But there is just a celebration of mediocrity from carriers that I love and sell products. We still push some of their products, right? But there's this celebration of mediocrity that leads to that feeling of, hey, I'm doing enough. Like, what did you call it? Content? I'm content. Do you feel like that led into it at all? And that's not like placing the blame, not a bad carrier or anything like that. Just, have you found that to be true, or no? Have you found something else to be true?
I think that all was part of it for sure. For example, my manager wants me to turn in a goal to her every October for the next year, which is great. That I understand. We all need to have something we're focused on. But personally, I was setting a goal that then I would reach that goal, and then I would just basically be like, all right, I'm out. Time to go hunt, go do whatever else. And I would just kind of put a self-imposed limit, I guess, because of the goal, right? And so for me, it's been a big mind shift. For example, I would always set a goal of weight. It's like, man, I don't want to weigh what I currently weigh. And so during my 30s, I got up to where I was like 220, and I'm only 6 feet tall. So it's like, that's not good if you're not pretty ripped, right? And so it was always, I'm going to set a goal to get back to whatever this weight. Well, that's the yo-yo effect. Is then you meet the goal, and then you craft again, and it just goes back and forth, right? And so instead, the mindset shift for me is changing my identity. Now I think every day I am a business athlete. So as an athlete and a business owner, what should I do to be at the top of my game? I should wake up, I should train, I should meditate, I should journal, I should read, I should study, I should lift weights, so that by the time I get to work, I'm ready to work. And I've already done all that. So I do a 4-hour routine every morning from 5:30 to 9:30. It's interesting. I went, instead of going to work at 8:30, I now go to work at 9:30. And my production went way up by working less hours, but being more efficient in the hours,
You've heard the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Yeah.
So how has this mindset shift, it's obviously been very positive for you at work, and how has it affected your home life?
Oh, dude, it's awesome. Like every day, me and my kids, before they head to school, we talk about winning the day and what are we going to do to win the day. And we have a cool conversation and back and forth about what we're going to do that day to win. Because winning matters. Let's face it. In any aspect of your life, winning does matter, and you got to think about it and try to participate in things that you can just get better, and so that's made a big difference with my kids. It's been a huge thing that we have to share every day. With my wife, we go for a 3-mile hike every morning together, and we take no electronics. And so we got 45 minutes, just me and her. You can talk about a lot of stuff in 45 minutes, right? We're getting healthy. We're getting better emotionally, physically, everything mentally. That's been a big boost to us. And, my brother, he's my business partner. He does the same thing. He does a 3-mile hike every morning. And I've seen his attitude and things change just like mine, because we're trying to be better.
Dude, I love that. You hike in some beautiful places too.
Oh man, it's so fun.
For those of you that don't know, Keldon, would you call it Central Utah?
Yeah, so we're right in Central Utah. Like basically, I'm 2 hours from Provo, 2 hours from St. George, 2 hours from Moab. Like you can be anywhere in 2 hours, but the BLM is my backyard, and so we can be hiking and see nobody in 5 minutes.
It's watching some of your videos. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and the weather by and large is amazing. And it's crazy though, because you said like by working less, you're making more, you're doing better, you're going further, faster. And what are you doing to be more efficient, more effective when you get into the office? Some folks were to watch this and take one thing and be able to implement it. Like, what's something you actually physically change to make yourself more effective in that time?
So every morning I write my action plan for the day in my journal, and I pick my 3 most important things, and I do those first. If I don't get to all the other stuff, because there's always stuff, I'm going to get to my 3 most important things first. When I'm fresh, I'm clear, I'm ready to go. I think that's been a huge difference, you know?
Is there a theme to your most important stuff? Like, is it like this client service is an emergency, it's my most important thing? Or is there like a certain theme, a certain pattern to those three?
Yep.
I call them critical tasks because I do something similar, but.
Yeah, for me, the most critical thing, I'm in charge of production. That's my area. Finding new people, prospecting, presenting. And so it's either number one, I want to do 2 prospect appointments every day. From my prospecting pool, somebody's already told me, yes, I'll meet with you. I want to make sure I get those 2 appointments set. Now, today is Tuesday, Life Insurance Tuesday. I theme every Tuesday. The focus is life insurance. Now, there's a lot that goes into that and a whole backstory we'll get into later. But basically, the super simple part of it, as far as business, if I meet with somebody on Tuesday, I now have 3 days to follow up with them to close the case. And we all know if you close something and follow up within 48 hours, your closing percentage is up. So if you start with Tuesday and you meet with your prospects, I try to do 2 prospect appointments. People have already told me, yes, I'll meet. I try to do those on Tuesday. So now if we present a plan, we have the rest of the week to follow up and close, you know, and that I think makes a big difference. You know, so I do the simple thing. Here's the formula. MDRT, if you want to make MDRT every year, 224, 2 prospect appointments every day, 2 what we call personal insurance reviews that I sit down with 2 clients and do 2 reviews of their current stuff, whether it's insurance, finances, whatever. So 2 reviews, and then find 4 new people. So if you find 4 new people every day or 20 every week, if you just bat a decent batting average, you're going to hit your numbers for MDRT.
Dude, I love that. So let's switch gears a little bit, because like I told you, I really want folks to get to know you. I want them to be excited to come and see you and know the Keldon that I know, because it's not just about the prospecting and the closing and the life insurance. And there's something else there. There's something else that makes you you. So I've got a couple questions. I was wondering if you could humor me by answering them.
I betcha.
What's been the most heartbreaking moment of your entire life?
Ooh, most heartbreaking, that would definitely be losing our first daughter. She was born early, 22 weeks, and doctor walked in and he said, good news and bad news. The bad news is you're going to have your baby. The good news is she's going to be alive when you have her, but she's going to die. And so knowing there was nothing they were going to do to try to prevent it, and so my wife had to go through the whole process, knowing this baby's going to be too little to survive. That was rough, losing your first kid. And that's where Life Insurance Tuesday came from, was in basically a way for me to remember her and focus on it, right? So that was when we were young, dude. I was 23? My wife at 20? Super young.
How else has that impacted your life positively? I know you enough to know, like, you had your dark days, but also it's been a positive impact on you.
Absolutely. I mean,
what else?
Definitely. And for my career, it gave me empathy for people to lose somebody in the life insurance business. You got to have some of those situations happen that you understand why we do what we do. You know, I've paid 17 death claims now, including, like, say, my own daughters, and that one we paid out of pocket because obviously there was no life insurance. So that was a huge learning curve. But on the spiritual side of things, she was born in the covenant, and we believe that she'll be with us forever. And so we took a lot of solace in that, right? That, you know what? She's perfect in Christ. And that's a big deal. That's part of our faith, you know? And I think there are tons of good Christians that believe that Jesus is big enough to overcome those things. And we take a lot of faith in that, you know? So we've had 4 amazing children since that are all healthy and strong and amazing. And when you lose your first one, though, it changes your perspective. There's no doubt. And I think you treat things a little bit different.
You definitely have a beautiful family at this point, my friend. I can tell you that.
Thank you.
What?
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Continue.
Oh, you're good.
You had something to say, Keldon. I want you to say it.
You know, so what I was going to say is I think it's so important that a lot of times loss in general can split a couple, right? In our case, it brought us closer together, which is a huge thing. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen all the time with loss, right? It can be a detrimental thing, I think, mentally, spiritually, everything for people. And in our profession, there's a lot of emotion that goes into our product, right? Storytelling, reliving with people, things that have happened. And yes, we need to fundamentally understand our product, but also we need to understand it's an emotional thing when someone passes away, right? We're really selling a promise when somebody's going to have their worst day. And so that's a big deal. Like I've paid death claims for multiple children that have died. One of my best buddies, his daughter, Kisses for Casey. If you've never heard of that, Google that. Kisses for Casey, Josh Terry and Jamie Terry and their beautiful daughter that died of type 1 diabetes. You know, when we didn't have a lot of life insurance, but we had some life insurance, and it makes a difference, right? Like some cool experiences like that you just have over 20 years of doing this stuff happens, you know?
That's pretty powerful. I appreciate you sharing. And I know a lot of other people will as well. So lightening the mood a little bit, what's been the most elating, happiest moment of your entire life?
Ooh, that would definitely be meeting my, I'll never forget, we're a small town couple, 4th of July, fighting wildland fires at the time. And so I was 21. I've been off of missions for about a year. And my good buddy, Bart Madsen, he was my boss at the Forest Service, and I went up to him, and I'm a spiritual guy, right? Me and you we've talked about stuff a lot, but I had a very strong impression that I needed to have the day of work off for the 4th of July. In the fire world, nobody gets the 4th of July off because there's always fires, right? Like, not going to happen. So I went to my boss. I said, Bart, I need the 4th of July off. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I said, no, dude, I got to have it off. And we talked, and he goes, if I even go present this to our upper management, they're just going to say no. I said, well, it's important enough. If I can't have it off, then I'll have to give my resignation, right? And so he goes, come back, long story short, they give me the day off. So we go to the parade. My parents are already there. I get the parade, and they're sitting at the local, our parade in Richfield's huge. The 4th of July, if you've ever experienced the 4th of July in Richfield, it's amazing, right? Everyone comes back from anyone that's lived here for 30 years, right? Everyone comes, and so it's a huge celebration. Well, we're sitting at the premium gas station, and my parents were there sitting by my uncle. Well, my uncle has a daughter that was friends with my wife's little sister. We've never met. We went to different high schools, and I see this hot little brunette standing over there. I was like, dude, I gotta go meet her. So I walked over and introduced myself, got her number, and I knew as soon as I met her that I knew her before and that we were going to get married. And just super cool. And we dated for a couple months, got married in December.
Pretty cool, man. And you know, a lot of people are like, that's way too fast, this, no, that. But I don't know. They say when you know, you know.
Agreed. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the case for everyone, right? I think it's case by case, no doubt about it. But for me, as far as the most memorable moment of my life, that's got to be it.
What kind of gas station was it? Are we talking like a Texaco or?
I mean, it's the local premium. It's just your run-of-the-mill gas station. I mean, it even has a street lamp that's sideways, and for some reason, it's never been fixed in 30 years. It still just sits sideways. It's great. It's like the hometown. It's like a Hallmark movie, pretty much, you know?
Dude, I love that. That's so damn cool. So last question, and I'll let you go because I told you I'd only take a half an hour of your day here, and it's Life Insurance Tuesday. You have work to do, my friend.
Yep.
So I've asked this of everybody else who's coming to speak so far, and I want your thoughts on this. If this event was your last opportunity ever to provide impact the way that I know you want to provide impact so much, and it was your last opportunity to share with agents and really connect, not from the stage, but down on the floor where everybody else is. If somebody was going to come up during a break, lunch, or whatever, and pick your brain, ask you a question, something that had the opportunity to change or the potential to change their life, their business, the way their family dynamic works at home or whatever, what kind of things would you want folks to ask you?
Great question. You know, the thing is, most time you kind of get asked superficial things, right? what's the secret to what you're doing, whatever, and that doesn't really go anywhere. I think asking a little bit deeper questions would make a bigger impact. Like the question you asked, what's your best day ever? Well, that's a great question, right? Or what makes you have a great marriage? What's one thing you do? Like, to give you an example, me and my wife like to focus on unforgettable weekends. If you go listen to the book, The Compound Effect, he talks all about that concept. And I could talk about that concept forever. Unforgettable weekends. I work hard so I can do something amazing, right? That's one of the main focuses we have. But just talking in a more personal level, I guess, instead of superficial level would be, and I think the small group setting could definitely help with that. I think that's a great idea. So you can actually talk, One thing about me, I'm probably more of an open book than a lot of people are when it comes to sharing things that are, whatever, intimate, spiritual, that have been life-changing. And I think most people would like to, and we get a little nervous. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to get nervous about that. I mean, a huge part of what's made me successful is I learned from those that have already done it, right? The Tom Hegners, the Van, David McKnight, taking a piece of what they teach, making it my own, and implementing it. That's something I've been okay at doing in my career, and it's made a huge difference. I think if I can give back and there's something that somebody can pull away and it makes a difference, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. Anything else you want to leave the folks with here before we shoulder down?
Dude, it's going to be awesome.
I appreciate you, Keldon. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
This has been another excellent episode of the REV Your Agency podcast. Remember something, nothing happens if you don't do the damn work. So take what you've got from this, take what you've learned, and go implement it today. It's not about having everything. It's about having one thing and implementing it every day so that you can take your production, your agency, and the lives of everybody around you to the next level. If you could use some help with it, hit us up at revagencysyndicate.com and jump in. We run a mastermind that is dedicated and hell-bent 10 times more than this podcast could ever be into helping you have the education, collaboration, and accountability that you need to go to the next level. Whether you are captive, independent, whether you're life only, or you focus on multiple lines, it doesn't matter. We're here to help. Let us help you.